When I heard they were making a spin-off Lord of the Rings movie focusing on Frodo's sword, Sting... Wait, what? It's not about the sword. In what feels like an obvious move, they've gone ahead and made a biopic about the frontman and lead singer of the Police, Sting. It's not about the singer. So hot on the heels of the Iron Claw, we have another pro wrestling movie. This time it's about Sting. It's not about the wrestler? Wait, it's about a space spider? Didn't we just get a space spider movie? Review to that below. Sting is not about the wrestler, it's not about the singer, it's not about Frodo's sword. It is in fact about a spider.
We have to deal with this together.
What the?
Sting.
This Sting tells the story of young Charlotte, as in Charlotte's Web. Subtle. Charlotte is 12 years old. She's living in an apartment complex in New York. She lives with her mum and stepdad. They are struggling to get by. Stepdad is a wannabe comic book writer and artist, but his actual job is maintaining the building. He's the janitor slash, maintenance man, handyman for the building, which is actually owned by his step-aunt-in-law, I think. That's his job. He kind of tries to maintain the building during the day and writes his comic book at night. Charlotte, his stepdaughter, obviously has daddy issues because actual dad isn't in the picture. She's also a wannabe comic book artist, writer, creator as well. One day, wouldn't you know it, a tiny space spider arrives from space. Charlotte finds it, thinks it's cool, puts it in a jar, starts feeding it, the spider starts to grow, and it starts to go wrong. That's more or less the plot of Sting. It's not story heavy. It's a creepy, crawly, scary spider movie. But is it creepy, is it crawly, and is it scary? Kind of. Let's talk about the acting first of all. The whole movie is kind of carried on the shoulders of the girl who plays Charlotte, ALILA. Apologies if I'm butchering how you say her name. ALILA Browne. She was actually young Furiosa in the Furiosa movie. There's a review to that below as well. She does a pretty decent job. As I said, she's the main character in this movie. Almost every scene she's kind of front and centre. So she does quite a good job carrying the movie. The stepdad is played by Ryan Corr, who was in Hacksaw Ridge and Wolf Creek 2, The Water Diviner, to name but a few. I think he was also in Where the Wild Things Are. I'm sure I saw that on his IMDb. He does a pretty good job as well. The script that they're given at times feels a little bit cringy. Like the dialogue is a little bit kind of on the nose and just doesn't feel natural. The words that they're saying feels like at times they're reading lines instead of actually just having conversations and saying things. So maybe the script could have done with, an extra pass or two to kind of finesse that aspect of it. The tone of the movie is fairly consistent for a creepy, crawly horror movie. That maintains a level tone and a level pace. It doesn't feel too long. I think the movie clocks in at about 90 minutes. It is a bit of a slow burn in the beginning. You don't really get to the big, creepy, crawly spider action movie until a good halfway through the movie, but that's not always a bad thing. A slow build and a slow burn can lead to amazing things. Look at Aliens and Alien. The opposite end of that spectrum, because it's quite a slow build and a slow burn, it almost feels like they take their time building up to the kind of the final act of the movie, but then the final act of the movie rolls around and it just feels like they're barreling towards the end to a certain extent. It actually feels like that could have had a little more room to breathe and been kind of joined with the first half of the movie a little bit more, finessely, a little bit more cohesively. I don't know. It just felt a little bit like they were racing towards the end of the movie by the time you got to the last act of the movie. Speaking of the end of the movie, there is a couple of mid-credits scenes. I don't think there's anything at the very end, but there's one or two mid-credit scenes that are worth sticking around for, so be sure to check them out. And be sure to subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much. I think one of the strongest aspects of this movie is actually the cinematography and the shot design and the music and the sound design. There's lots of creepy steady cam shots, lots of kind of low angle creeping through the hallways and the air ducts and the vents and whatnot. That really adds to the kind of the creepiness and the kind of the impending, you know, horrorness of the movie. So that works really well. As I said, lots of creepy Steadicam, slow pushing and, you know, bending round corner type shots that works really well for the type of movie. It's actually, at times, it kind of reminded me of early Peter Jackson movies. I mean that as a compliment, as kind of low budget as like the early Peter Jackson movies are. They're a hell of a lot of fun, and for the budget that they had, they work really well. The creature effects are actually pretty good. I don't know how much of it was CGI and how much of it was practical effects. It could have been all CGI or it could have been all practical, and I couldn't really tell the difference. So whether it's CGI or practical or both, I couldn't tell the difference. So the team or teams that created the creature did a really good job, because you don't see it, especially when it's in its bigger form, you don't see it for too long on screen. So any kind of like flaws that it might have had, they'd be well hidden. You don't notice them because it's never on screen for that long, and it's, you know, it's quite a dark and gloomy movie anyway. As I said, plot-wise, it's nothing, you know, too crazy, nothing too convoluted. It's, you know, space spider arrives from space, gets bigger, starts eating people in a contained area. So, you know, it's not breaking any new ground here. It's kind of, it's got beats of Alien and Alien 3. It's got beats of the first Terminator movie, things like that. There's definitely an homage to Alien 3 in one of the shots in here. You'll know it when you see it. I won't give away any spoilers, but there's a particular shot where I'll be amazed if that wasn't a deliberate tip of the hat to Alien 3. So that was quite cool. It's kind of Arachnophobia meets The Evil Dead Rises meets Terminator 1 would be the kind of movie mashup elevator pitch that I would say. Yeah. I'm going to go with 5 out of 10 for Sting. I did toy with 6 out of 10, but ultimately for a creepy, crawly, scary spider movie, it's not that scary at all. The plot and the story beats are pretty obviously signposted well in advance. You know what's going to happen well before it happens, so there's no real surprises there. There's no real suspense. It's not scary. It's not suspenseful. It's a little bit creepy because, you know, it is about a giant spider, and that's going to creep, you know, most people out. But yeah, just the lack of suspense throughout and the kind of cringy dialogue definitely hurts the movie. The actors in it are good. The 2 leads, the girl who plays the main girl, Charlotte, and her stepdad, they're both pretty good. But as I said, they're hamstrung with some pretty shonky dialogue at times. Yeah, so 5 out of 10 for Sting. Ironically, it does make an interesting double bill with the Adam Sandler Netflix movie Spaceman, as I mentioned at the start of this video. They're both about dog-sized spiders from space, but that's pretty much where the similarities end. If you're interested in that review, it's down below, and I will catch you in the next video.